All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. They said another ASUU strike looms, and once again, the future of millions of Nigerian students, hangs in the balance. How long will this cycle of broken promises and disrupted education continue is the question I'm asking in pain today. Again, I welcome you to another interesting edition of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your executive producer, your script writer, name it. I wear many caps on this platform. I say welcome. And I think it's important for us to hear what on this day in history segment asks for us. When I return, I give my 2 cents on it. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. The question for this particular event in history is that, did it really work? Or did it produce the desired results? And I must answer no. We need to employ means that works that are relevant in this age and time. There is no restriction of movement for people, especially when they belong to a country, as bona fide citizens. That's my takeaway thus far from on this history segment today. I think it's important for us to get a message from my sponsors, those who have put me on this platform. And when I return, I dive straight to the topic at hand. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. Right, many thanks for staying with me. The federal government has floated a new salary structure that promises a 100% increase for lecturers, but ASUU insists that piecemeal promises without holistic reforms will not end the cycle of disruption. Other universities union also fear exclusion, raising concerns of a wider confrontation in the educational sector. Meanwhile, students and parents remain trapped in uncertainty with NANS and threaten to shut down critical infrastructure should dialogue collapse. Just this week, ASUU declared a national-wide protest across university campuses, warning of a looming strike if government fails to act by August 28th. At the heart of this standoff are unresolved issues like unpaid allowances, withheld salaries, and the unemployment and negotiation, or for them to renegotiate of the 2009 agreement. Parents are anxious, students are restless, and the very credibility of university is once again under threat. With us to have a real talk around these urgent matters is a professor of English at Atanda-Owo University, Ile-Ife. And I believe that before we delve into real talk with my guest, I think it's important for me to play his profile. And when I return, we'll dive straight to him. We'll hear from him directly how he will be throwing more light on the issue. And please stay with me. I'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. Let me use this opportunity to quickly usher in my guest. Again, welcome to the show, Professor Chijioke Uwasomba. I hope I pronounced the last name properly. It's a pleasure to have you on Real Talk with Kike, sir. What are you doing today? Can you hear me? Fantastic. So, Prof, you know, beyond the current protest, you know, being over unpaid allowances, the 2009 agreement remains the fundamental bone of contentions. You know, ASUU says that the government refuses to implement it, while the government argues that it's unsustainable in terms of the old documentation or documents. From your own perspective, what is that single most critical clause in that agreement that, if implemented, would, you know, fundamentally bring change to the Nigerian university system for the betterment of everybody?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I don't even think there's no agreement yet. There's no agreement between the government and the academic staff union of the universities. I think the history of the relationship between Nigerian governments and academics is a very long one. Actually, that history is such that this platform, this moment, is even not enough to be able to exhaust it. But it's important to note that since 1981, during Shagari's regime, which was toppled in 1983, the academic staff union of universities had entered into an agreement with the Shagari regime in 1981. And since then, the relationship between the government and ASUU has been sour. And each government doesn't want to implement whatever agreement that it entered into with ASUU. By 1992, there was an agreement under General Babangida. And that agreement, when it was to be implemented, another issue came up, to the point, you know, that the minister that took over from Professor Fafunwa said the agreement, you know, shouldn't be called, that it was an agreement of imperfect obligation. And so that led to a series of strikes until, again, in 2009, an agreement was entered into between ASUU and the government. And that agreement was to the effect that it should be renegotiated every 3 years. And so the agreement was supposed to be renegotiated in 2012. In 2012, government dilly-dallied to renegotiate, you know, the agreement. And then, of course, in 2017, another committee was set up by the government, led, you know, by the then Pro-Chancellor of UNILAG. That, you know, Pro-Chancellor also came with a lot of excuses, so much so that no agreement, no negotiation took place until he had problem with the authorities of UNILAG and was removed, leading to, again, the government establishing another committee to negotiate with ASUU. And that was with strikes and threats of strikes and all that. And of course, Musa, an experienced academic, a retired experienced academic, you know, was to chair another committee that will lead to an agreement. Of course, that, you know, exercise was concluded. The government abandoned it under Buhari with Dr. Ngige playing games. And of course, it took strikes for 8 months until another committee was set up. And that committee was headed by the late Mimi Briggs, Professor Briggs. That was concluded. The government abandoned it. And of course, another one was set up, headed by Yaya Ahmed. And that one concluded its negotiation with ASUU and submitted the reports to the government. Since, you know, February, when that report was submitted to the government, you know, has been doing one thing or the other, running away from accepting, from signing the agreement that he had concluded with the union. And of course, the issues are clear about what the union is asking for. Some of the things contained in the agreement are good pay for professors. No Nigerian professor earns up to $400. It's unbelievable. That's one of the major issues. The second one is about funding the universities. The universities are not funded. Our children live in dingy environments out of the campuses where they are. And they are raped, especially the girls and all that. The facilities, have collapsed. The universities, can't compete. No foreigner could come to teach in our universities. No foreigner as students could come to study in our universities. So the conditions are decrepit, including the facilities. Another issue, is that of the university government,
Prof, are you with me? Are you with me, please?
Can't fund the existing ones.
All right, Prof, are you with me? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. I was trying to get your attention earlier because I know that you're speaking passionately, and it's allowed because you're in this industry, you're in this field. And earlier, when you were giving your submission and you were talking about there's no agreement at all, despite your insights thus far in terms of finding balance to remuneration, the amount being paid, the infrastructure and all of that, but there's a successive government that have signed, agreements with, ASUU from 1992 to 2009 to 2020, only to fail on implementations. Why does this circle, persist? Because earlier when you were talking about the journey of previous administration, even the previous, ASUU chairman and all of that, is it a case of bad faith negotiation by the government, or a failure of ASUU to read the political and economic realities, or is just a deeper, I don't know the word to use now in terms of, is it the education ranks on Nigerians' list of priorities? There must be something that is missing, that is not connecting everything together. Help us unpack this.
Education should be number one priority of the government. Education, education, education. That should be the priority of the government. But the education is not a priority of governments in Nigeria. It's not just only this current government. All the governments in Nigeria, it was only Yar'Adua that his short-lived administration gave 11% to education. No other government has done that so far. And incidentally, Yar'Adua didn't leave. And so there are no issues. Government is paying only attention to politics, to politicians. Do you know how much members of the National Assembly consume? So it is not as if the economic realities are such so how come it's only university lecturers, it's only teachers, it's only common people, it's only common workers that face the problems, of the realities of the economic situation? Those in government don't face such realities because government doesn't pay attention to education. So the union understands that, lecturers understand that. I have just told you that no professor in Nigeria earns $400. Is that not unbelievable? It is unbelievable. That's why I am passionate about the points that I'm making. No Nigerian professor earns up to $400. Meanwhile, some of the poorest countries in Africa pay times 4, times 5, times 6 of what Nigerian universities are earning, including Niger Republic. So it's not about the fact that there are competing needs. No, it's just that the Nigerian ruling class is a thieving ruling class. It's an unserious ruling class. It doesn't want education, and so it doesn't pay attention to it.
All right. Many thanks again for that submission right there. You know, the government is now offering a 100% salary increase. But ASUU, you know, has rejected this as a piecemeal. And their approach is just, according to them, is beyond salaries. So I must ask you, Prof, what would a holistic reform package, the one that you feel that ASUU would, you know, should accept or look like? Please, I will need you to be more specific with this, because as we all know that this has become a culture in our country with all this, you know, strikes that has, you know, dominated the educational sector. Please, let's be more specific. Are we talking about a legally mandated percentage of the budget for education, or we are looking at how concrete the infrastructure timelines will be? Or is there something else that you think that you need to be transparent about on this platform?
Whatever the government does with ASUU is based on collective bargaining. Whatever that is acceptable to lecturers, to ASUU, must be a product of collective bargaining. And as I told you, in 1992, when government entered into an agreement with ASUU, it engaged, it decided, it agreed on the principles of negotiation, and that every 3 years, the agreement with ASUU must, you know, be renegotiated. And the point I'm making is that since 2009, that agreement would have been renegotiated in 2012, 2015, 2019, 2022, and of course, you know, 2025. But since 2009, after the renegotiation that took place in 2009, government has not fully renegotiated the agreement. And all efforts, all agreements, all negotiations that took place, government abandoned the outcome of those negotiations. That's the point that I'm making, that government has been irresponsible, that government has not lived up to expectation. And even if government is awarding us 100% or 1,000%, it must be negotiated, because the framework is contained in earlier agreements. That's number one. Number two, you know, is that government has money to fund education. If government didn't have money, would government have been able to buy cars worth 160 million naira to each legislator? Government and people are stealing money every now and then from NNPC and all that. The one-time Accountant General of the Federation under Buhari admitted that he stole over 90 billion naira. So corruption, you know, is the thing ruling Nigeria. And so it is not because government doesn't have money to be able to engage in this, to implement these agreements, but government is insincere. And that's why, you know, ASUU is saying that if by 28th of this month, because there is a meeting scheduled for 28th of this month, and that if that meeting takes place and the issues are not resolved, that it will call out its members to go on strike.
Talking about calling off to go on strike, because strikes have become ASUU's primary tool of engagement. Let's keep it real on this platform. While effective, you know, strike has become a culture for them in terms of how they are grappling with attention, because every time they say they are going on strike is like attention seeking. I'm just saying, you know, they have a devastating, you know, I don't know now, damages when it comes to things like that, because students all over Nigeria can testify to things like this when it comes to their future being lost. You know, parental trust is broken and the entire system is eroded. At what point, sir, I must ask, does the weapon of strike action become so destructive that it now risks destroying the very institution that ASUU is fighting for to protect, or fighting to protect rather? Because with all that you have shared thus far, whether ASUU says that they are going on strike or not, everybody all over the world, all over Nigeria, just feels that it has become a culture. They are not being taken seriously anymore, maybe because there's no strategic, clear vision with what is going on right now. What's your take on this, sir?
lecturers don't like going on strike to teach in the university and elsewhere is a matter, of choice. It's not everybody that becomes a lecturer. It's not everybody that wants to teach. Those who go there to teach, they are committed. They are committed to teaching. That's their life. And so lecturers feel bad going on strike. You recall that this current government, the Minister of Education, some 2 months ago, was saying that for 2 years, under the administration of Tinubu, that lecturers haven't gone on strike. Lecturers haven't gone on strike, not because of the government. It is in spite of the government that lecturers haven't gone on strike. Lecturers haven't gone on strike because they decided not to do so. All right? Not because, it is in spite of the government, given the nature, of their intellection. They don't like going on strike. The government forces lecturers to go on strike. And lecturers don't carry guns. All lecturers have as workers is to go on strike after complaining. So they don't just wake up and go on strike. They decide to go on strike because government is not listening. Government is not doing the proper thing. Government is insensitive to the issues at stake. And so because of the insensitivity, of government, and it is not just this government, successive governments over the years are deaf. And so because they are deaf, ASUU will always decide to go on strike to shake them up from their slumber so that they can hear, so that they can act, so that they can do the proper thing in order to have a functioning university system. So they don't enjoy going on strike, and that's why they have been calling on Nigerian people. That's why they have been calling on everybody, the media, asking them to intervene before they go on another round of strikes.
Many thanks for all your submission thus far, but I just want to ask you to bear some responsibility in ensuring that, all these unions, who are trying to, work with them can actually come to a place of conclusion. But you know what? We'll go on a quick break to get a word from my sponsors. When I return, the conversation will continue. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Glad to know you're still right there with us. In case, you're just joining the show, this is Real Talk with Kike, and I've been discussing the ongoing, ASUU federal government deadlock in terms of a crisis that has threatened to once again shut down our universities. And of course, my guest, Professor Chijioke Uwasomba, has been helping us, understand the roots of this, recurring conflict and what it means for the future of the higher education in Nigeria. Again, many thanks for those who have been watching us thus far. I think it's important for us to use this opportunity to open the phone lines, and before I open the phone lines, I believe that I must share with you that I will be going deeper into possible solutions, because no matter what the kind of challenges that we are facing on this platform, I try as much as possible to make sure that we provide solution to the issue at hand. Can government and ASUU finally, chart a sustainable path forward so that this cannot continually be a culture that our unborn generation will come and meet? It has lingered on for too long. What is the way forward? How do we move past this ASUU strike that has become a part and parcel of us in this country, Nigeria? Again, I want to say many thanks to Professor Chijioke for all that you have shared thus far. But let me open our phone lines for those who would like to be part of this conversation. Remember that you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number that is showing on your screen right now. And of course, we're streaming live on Facebook, both on Real Talk with Kike platform and on Silverbird platform. Many thanks to my amiable partner, Silverbird Television. But quickly, sir, with all that you have shared thus far, because the National Association of Nigerian Students is now threatening to shut down infrastructure if this deadlock, isn't resolved. Students are caught between the seemingly uncaring government and union schools. I don't know. I'm trying to struggle with my words now. And union that shuts down their own schools rather. You know, so do you believe, sir, that ASUU has done enough to genuinely carry students along in this struggle and articulate, you know, how this fight is ultimately for their future? What's your take on this, Professor?
I can't hear you.
Right. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now, sir?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Let's go on a quick break to reestablish connection with my guest. When I return, we will be hearing from him. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, many thanks for staying with us. This is Real Talk with Kike, and I have Professor Chijioke or Uwasomba on the show with me today, trying to throw light on the intending strike that is beginning to start today in our country, Nigeria. Sir, are you there?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Okay, unfortunately, I think I might have to let you go right now. But again, I say many thanks for all that you have shared, you know, thus far with us, and I just feel that with all that you have shared, at least we are hoping that there will be solution to the National Association of Education in Nigeria, and we are hoping that the lack of funds, you know, governance, you know, the infrastructure, you know, the micromanagement, the whole their research on innovation and all of that, there will be a solution going forward to all that is going on in terms of the pathway to sustainable growth, you know, with the educational sector. On this note, this is where I move to the last segment of the show that I call Trending Story. And the first trending story that caught my attention, which I would refer to as my take right now, because it's more of an editorial perspective on my own submission on the issue at hand. And the topic is about the controversy on presidential salary and others. And, you know, with the topic that I've chosen today, I just feel that a little bit is not too far from it, because this argument about what really constitutes a proper or inadequate salary for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has become a controversy, you know, all over the place. And personally, I don't think there should be any controversy around it. Yeah, my thoughts are the reason why I said so, because yes, we can go by statistics and look at, for example, what the President of the United States earns, or what the President of South Africa earns, and probably compare salaries across continent. But we need to keep one thing in mind. The economies are not the same as Nigeria. So we cannot directly compare what they earn there with what our president earns here. Now, from an objective standpoint, it is almost unreasonable to even raise the subject of increasing the president's salary when the country is struggling to meet its most basic obligations. Nigeria is still battling to pay the approved minimum wage of teachers. Lecturers have been owed several months of salaries. 4 months was paid for salaries for the lecturers. They are still owing them 3 months' salaries. Health workers who form the backbone of national well-being are yet unpaid, and they are demoralized. Against the backdrop of pushing for an upward review of presidential earnings, as far as I'm concerned, sends the wrong message and deepens the mistrust between government and its citizens. It is also important for me to stress that leadership is about prioritization. When the majority of the population lives in abject poverty and inflation continues to erode purchasing power, leaders must first focus on elevating these hardships before thinking about their own remuneration. By choosing to freeze or even cut their own official salaries, political leaders could hit a moral standard and show solidarity with ordinary Nigerians who are struggling to survive. Such a gesture, if you ask me, would solve this economic crisis, but it would at least demonstrate empathy. Empathy will be, and restore some level of trust in governance. So I just feel on this claim that the president receives only 18 million naira annually, which comes to about 1.5 million naira monthly. The comparison with teachers and doctors is, come on. Teachers, tutors, lecturers shape the future of this nation. Doctors literally save lives, yet many of them are paid as little as 70,000 naira. I like the fact that earlier my guest, Professor Chidioke, was talking about, that most of the top lecturers are not being paid up to $400,000. They are not paid up to 500,000, maybe 500,000 naira. While some states even, they are defaulting on this. They are not even being paid at all. In this light, the revenue mobilization allocation, and fiscal commission, that's the RMAFC, appears disconnected from reality when it defends or suggests higher pay for political leaders. But guys, objectively speaking, I just feel that no public servant should be discussing a rise in salary when the majority of essential workers remain underpaid and undervalued. True reform should begin, with elevating the wings of those whose daily contributions keep the country functional, rather than, cushioning the comfort of those, already enjoying numerous perks of office. Are the politicians or the president or governors, are they relying on salaries? Why are we deceiving ourselves? I believe it's more of a matter of discretion here. Yes, there is a statutory amount that the president, is officially meant to earn, but why has it become an argument in what I still can't fully understand? I don't want to come to socials or come to news, and that's what I'll be reading. However, this is my own take. The president has come to serve, the sitting president to be precise, has come to serve Nigerians. He is already wealthy before he got to that corridor of power. We've seen how other presidents has declared that whatever their salary is, they don't want to earn it while they are in office. They want to give it to charity or channel it back into the economy. That to me reflects the true spirit of leadership. There's nothing wrong if our sitting president can do the same. It shows that they don't just need the money personally. It reveals their real intentions and motivates for being in office. Even though some people are saying that even if he does that, there's a way of how they will be getting. My dear, if a corrupt president comes into office, they might try to inflate salaries or allowance for personal gain. But if someone truly comes to serve, to grow the economy, to make things better for Nigeria, to improve the quality of life for citizens, then salary shouldn't even be a conversation that we should be having right now. A true leader should be willing to let go to sacrifice. Besides president salaries, in fact, presidents don't just even earn salaries. They also receive allowances, different types of allowances, official cars, aids, many other privileges. Are we considering all those benefits that we are not even talking about other than this salary? I'm trying to tailor my thoughts so that I don't speak out of ills, because those perks are a big part of what comes with the office. That's why I believe that the entire salary debate is subjective. For me, the real question is, what is the president's intention in coming to the office? Is he here to serve, or is he here to enrich himself and his people? I have to say this. At the expense of Nigeria's economy, things are not working well in this country. You say you have removed fuel subsidy and all of that. Corruption doesn't take place again, which is what I read in his visitation to Brazil few hours ago, with the contract that is about to be signed. Are we sure there's no corruption in this country again? No, I feel that, these misplaced priorities with all that is happening in this country. There are better ways that we can channel our country and ask ourselves the truth. What is our motive of even coming to the corridor of power? It seems everybody comes there to want to come and enrich their pockets and their families. I rest my thoughts right now. I think the second trending story, topic that caught my attention is that of the Kemi Badenoch that opens up on racism. I was struggling back and forth if I should take this Kemi Badenoch story or not. But it's all over the place. Regarding this UK, leader, this Kemi Badenoch, I just feel that the accusation of racism that she has faced, I think she may not fully understand the weight of the situation or how it navigates the current circumstances around her. For several months now, she has faced backlash, not just from within her own political circle in the UK, also from Nigerians back home. Clearly, she's trying to make an impression politically and advance her career, but recent weeks or months have shown that her approach has not worked at all. And it says a lot about her character. Too many issues surrounding her persona. It appears that she's just being two-faced or hypocritical towards, her own country, or perhaps attempting to reshape the image of Nigeria for personal gains. She has been given numerous opportunities to prove herself and to strengthen diplomatic and political ties between the UK and Nigeria, yet she has repeatedly missed that chance to portray Nigerians and Africans in a positive light. The issue here is very simple for me. You cannot undermine or misrepresent your own people and expect to gain credibility or respect elsewhere. We are lying to ourselves. If you sell your own community short, how can you expect to succeed or be respected on the global stage? She seems to have forgotten that being black is not just something she can change. No matter how much she tries to assimilate into the white dominated political landscape or assert our British accent or identity, our skin color and heritage are still, our realities. Even as a British citizen, she must recognize that her nationality does not just automatically shield one from, scrutiny or criticism. Privileges that I feel can be questioned if one fails to uphold any of these things is what she's tilted towards. What she needs now, if I'm to actually, bear her some sense, if she has one, or if she's ready to embrace it, she needs now to just caution herself, moving forward, apply diplomacy, and be political savvy. She must learn to navigate the complex, political waters while maintaining respect and integrity of our roots, of our foundation, understanding subtle cues, acting strategically, honoring our heritage will allow her to gain credibility both domestically and internationally. Without this, she just risks eliminating the very people whose culture and identity she represents, which undermines any attempt to build any influence to leadership on the global stage. I don't know what is wrong with Kemi Badenoch, but I think enough is enough with all the shenanigans that she's putting out there. She's too well read, she's too exposed to be doing all this hypocritical. Guys, these are my thoughts on these two topics right now. I think I need to take a breather, and just end my show today on this note. Many thanks to my guests. Indeed, I had a wonderful show, courtesy my resourceful girl, Professor Chijioke, Uwasomba. I say thank you so much, sir, for your contribution. I wish that the network wasn't a bit erratic from your own end, where I'll be able to ask you further questions. But the little that you have shared thus far, I hope that, we all can come together and provide solution to the issue at hand, and so that we can, eliminate this culture of strife that is no longer taken seriously, other than the fact that people just feel that there are other ulterior motives to all of this, as the reason why all parties, including all the agencies, are yet to find, a better growth to the challenge at hand. On this note, this is where I draw the curtains of the show. Till I come your way on Thursday, remember to catch me on Inspiration FM tomorrow at 92.3 FM, your family radio station, and remain kind to one another, and bye now.